Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's ABM at Scale webinar with OMC BlueKai and Eloqua. My name is Amin Habibnia, and joining us today as host and moderator is Kwanzoo CEO, Mani Iyer, and we are very pleased to have Niraj Dio, the Senior Director of Product Management at Oracle as well. So for those of you that are new to Kwanzoo, we provide an all-in-one ABM and retargeting platform. Our solutions integrate with MAP, CRM, and data management platforms. Please be sure to visit our website at www.kwanzoo.com. There will be a time for a Q&A at the end of the discussion. To make sure we receive your questions, please enter them at any time during the presentation via the GoToWebinar question window or using Twitter by tweeting them to handles at Kwanzoo, at IyerMani, or at DEONIRAJ using the hashtag ABMDoneRight or hashtag ABMChat. Mani and Niraj will answer your questions in the order they are received. To stay informed about upcoming Kwanzoo events, please be sure to follow us on Twitter using the Twitter handle at Kwanzoo. And at this time, I'd like to hand things over to our host, ladies and gentlemen, Kwanzoo CEO, Mani Iyer.
Thank you, Amin, and thanks everyone for joining us today for this webinar. We're pleased to bring you this webinar as part of Kwanzoo's ABM Done Right series of webinars. The last time we did this, we had a great panel of ABM CEOs, and today we're pleased to bring you Niraj Dio with Oracle BlueKai Product Management, and we have, we think, a pretty exciting agenda for you to discuss ABM at scale using Oracle BlueKai, Eloqua, and Kwanzoo, where we provide some, we believe, pretty critical pieces of the puzzle integrating with both of those solutions from Oracle. Let me get started by doing some quick introductions. Niraj, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Oracle.
Sure. Thanks, Mani. Happy to be a part of this session. We are very excited at Oracle to launch various B2B set of products, whether they are data products or software products. So my role within the Oracle Data Cloud is to lead the B2B offerings that we are launching as a part of the Data Cloud for consumption by various application functions, starting with Marketing Cloud. So starting with marketing, and then happy to be a part of this session, Mani. Back to you.
All right, thanks. And so, what we want to do is, let me first set the agenda for today's webinar. So first up, we'll talk about, obviously there's a lot of interest around account-based marketing in the industry with B2B marketers. We'll talk about the 6-step ABM execution process to kick things off. And from there, we'll get into what are the right Oracle Marketing Cloud and Oracle Data Cloud, solutions. What are some partner solutions? There are certain areas where we help in that ecosystem, if you will, in that solution stack. We'll talk about that. We'll then get into orchestration. What does it take to deliver account-centric cross-channel experiences? And finally, we'll talk about analytics, because everybody wants to understand in great detail that all the investment that they're making in ABM is actually paying off. So we'll talk about analytics. So those are really the 4 key topic areas. So let me first set things up, hopefully here. We'll talk about, let's talk about the 6-step ABM execution process. This is something that, several companies in the space have been promoting, have introduced this concept of a 6-step process, if you will, to, kick off ABM programs and put in motion an ABM strategy. First and foremost is, of course, account-based marketing is all about have a more of an account-centric view of the world, where traditional marketing automation has been very lead-centric, and marketing programs have been all around leads and getting form fills done on your websites and pages and so forth. So now it's really a mind shift, and now moving into more of an account-based approach to literally running all of your marketing programs and campaigns and so forth. The very first step there really is account selection and making sure you have the right coverage meaning the ability to reach those accounts through a few different strategies. Account selection, of course, there are many dimensions to it, all the way from tiers of accounts to accounts by region, accounts by rep, accounts by territory, accounts who are customers, who are, prospects, and so forth. So that's one step in your ABM execution process, really figuring out your target account list and making sure you have the right coverage and ability to reach them. The second is contact discovery, contact alignment, making sure you have the right set of contacts in your marketing database and CRM to be able to reach these folks through a variety of means. And of course, the idea here is also the contacts belong to your target accounts. Third step is ensuring that as a team you have formulated the right messages that need to be delivered to these accounts and contacts. Messages delivered, of course, through a lot of different channels, email, website, paid media display, could be a sales outreach by your inside sales team, so SDRs, and all the way to phone and appointment setting outreach and so forth, and direct mail. So formulating the right messages and content is an important third step. Moving on to step 4 ends up being both designing and ensuring you have the ability to capture all the interaction data coming back to you across all these online and offline channels. And step 5 is really designing specific plays. You might have a play around your top accounts, a different play around accounts by region, accounts for upsell, cross-sell, which for customers versus accounts that are prospects. So that's really the idea of plays, where you might design specific programs, campaigns, depending on your objectives around specific sets of accounts. And then, of course, last but not least, certainly a very important piece is measurement, measuring the effectiveness of your ABM programs, figuring out the right analytics, and we'll certainly cover that in this webinar as it relates to where BlueKai plays as part of the puzzle, and where Kwanzoo and our technology also helps in some of those areas. So again, recapping 6-step ABM execution process: account selection and coverage, contact discovery and alignment, account relevant messages and content, interactions, focus plays, and analytics. With that, let me bring up the next slide, where I'm going to kick off a discussion here with Niraj. So Niraj, let's talk about this. This is really trying to paint a high-level picture about OMC BlueKai and Kwanzoo, and how it all kind of fits together as pieces of the puzzle to enable ABM, especially around paid media and B2B media execution. Do you want to maybe kick it off with talking about the BlueKai side of things?
Sure. I mean, I think more than BlueKai, if you look at Oracle and our capabilities and the solutions that we offer to an enterprise, they pretty much span across the whole enterprise business functions, starting with marketing, where pretty much every time the data is born during the marketing processes, and then it starts trickling downstream into sales, service, financials, and so on. So what we believe in the Oracle Data Cloud is that you can make the entire enterprise function, or all the enterprise functions, data driven. But if you start just zooming into the marketing function itself, this particular slide shows you a combination of various capabilities that make this happen from a data driven enterprise or a data driven marketing function point of view. And the reason we want to be data driven is because you want to be programmatic, and the end result is you want to be automated. And you want to be data driven, programmatic, and automated because as a B2B business, now not just account based marketing, but all your marketing functions, all your reactions that you are doing to the customer behavior that is happening on the websites, or the listening and learning that you are doing, should be happening real time, and you are able to then adopt to those changes as fast as you can. So what this essentially provides you as a decomposition is within the BlueKai universe, or within the Oracle Data Cloud universe, whether it is BlueKai or DataLogix kind of product offerings that we have here, it is made of these 4 or 5 different components that you see here. Number 1 is, to be data driven, you need a lot of data that you can bring to scale, at the same time bring to precision. And for that, you need a data marketplace, which is a combination of data science and the data marketplace working together in tandem by bringing a large amount of data, which is superimposed with a very, very rich taxonomy that you can operate against, which has a lot of classifications that have been done based on the attributes that you have about your customers, about their behavior, about their consumers, and now about their accounts. Once you have the data marketplace, and when you read this from left to right, the next is the data management platform. Now that you have the data marketplace, you need a data management platform to make sure that you are managing this data, managing the taxonomy, be able to create the audience, be able to then score them, be able to then model them, be able to profile them. And once you have a data management platform, one of the essential ingredients of the data management platform will be its integration to all kinds of marketing channels. Most importantly, the ad tech integrations that we have within the BlueKai world, which is more than 200 integrations. For example, to launch a media targeting campaign or to launch a site optimization campaign. And this is where Kwanzoo's capability fit, right well in terms of what happens next. I mean, what do you do with the data that you are generating at scale, the taxonomy that you have available at a very broad and a deep level that you can navigate, and make sure that your messages to your customers are customized and personalized right from the time you are targeting them, for example, in a display ad. And Kwanzoo has a rich set of capabilities such as templates, or such as being able to, in real time programmatically customize the experience that your customers are experiencing with you, or the messages that they're hearing from you right from the display point of view. Now that you have targeted your customers and now they have kind of, seen the product or the offerings that you have, either account-based or not account-based, the next step is then an anonymous user converting into a known user. And that's where the marketing automation world comes into play, where now you're trying to harness and orchestrate those interactions in a much more programmatic way, where you're now trying to know more about your customers. They are also interacting with you, engaging with you. And obviously the next step is then to closing them into a sales funnel. So that's what we feel is a most mature or modern way of data-driven applications or data-driven marketing functions, where Oracle brings the platform to play and works with partners like Kwanzoo, which enable a full pass of the marketing function. And that's what is exciting within the Oracle Data Cloud, because we can now enable the full pass of the marketing function right from your lead generation to the lead closing, or right from anonymous user to the time when the anonymous user becomes a known user. Back to you, Mani. I hope that solves the the flow from a point of view where Kwanzoo and Oracle and where ABM at scale fits in.
Yeah, I know we're just getting started, and hopefully, it at least gives a high-level view for folks listening that BlueKai plays a very critical role of bringing together this huge pool of online cookies and device IDs and so on, kind of online information, third-party data, if you will, right, around the prospects and customers people are going after. And then you have first-party data sitting in market automation, CRM, and you're absolutely right. What we're trying to do at Kwanzoo is trying to kind of bridge those two worlds, and then provide that last-mile media execution that's highly personalized, both for ABM programs, B2B retargeting programs, and so on. So I guess we'll get into more detail as we keep going. So let's start by the first step in the ABM process we talked about, which was selecting the right target accounts, identifying accounts. And let's try to discuss, in the context of BlueKai and BlueKai for B2B, which is where you've been putting a lot of effort and emphasis lately. Talk about the data assets that you have in BlueKai. So talk about firmographic. What can people, marketers, looking at the new BlueKai data set, what are they likely to find? What's the extent of data?
Yeah, I think from a product perspective, when you look at the core product capabilities that we have, and for example, let's take taxonomy and modeling, or taxonomy and the data categories that we are able to make available, so that we know more about our customers. And if we kind of work backwards from the taxonomy, it is a function of the data that we get from various data providers and various data treatments that we do on top of that data using the data science or modeling or much of the details that go into that. And at the same time, the identity graph or the ID graph, which connects various people, and their identities together, whether it is on web, mobile, or various devices that they go after, or various channels that they are appearing online and so on. So the firmographic data is critical for us, is because what we are able to do within the BlueKai and the DataLogix profile universe that we already have is superimpose a firmographic layer on top of the user profile that we already maintain within our data cloud. What that essentially means is, let's say we have a 1 million cookies, or we have 100 million or 400 million cookies and devices that we have in our platform. If we are able to then make sure that we can classify these cookies and devices by the firmographic attributes of these cookies and devices or these users, then it becomes a very rich set of classification that our customers can use in the firmographic segmentation that they want to do. For example, if you want to now start decomposing on people based on the company size, people based on the companies they work for and their company revenue size, or people based on their functional or occupations that they have. This is now possible at scale because we are able to bring in a very large amount of data, a very large amount of data providers into the platform, and the firmographic categories that we are launching as of today are somewhere around 4,700 categories is what we are able to decompose or classify every business user or every user that we have in our platform. So that provides a very scaled data asset for you to now activate into your channels. And Mani can update you on what you can do with these firmographic data and then provide examples on how that could be enabled in the Kwanzoo platform.
Right. So, real quick, Niraj, we just had a question from the audience as to whether these slides will be available after the webinar, and the answer is could you confirm that yes, we can make it available?
Yes, we can make it available.
Great. Now, so I think you started answering the question of what is the scale of data available. From what I understand, you have about 400 million to start with. And the other point is, I believe I've seen a number, something like 240 million of Dun & Bradstreet data points that are part of that 400 million. Who are some of the other, yeah.
Yeah, I think the 400 million, the 400 million is the users, which is cookies and devices that we have in our audience data marketplace. We do partner with Dun & Bradstreet, but there are more than 50, 60 such B2B specific partners that we have already partnered with, which are fueling in and feeding into these 400 million users that we host in the Oracle Data Cloud. There are obviously much more than the 50, 60 data providers who are feeding into the overall user pool, which is hundreds of data providers that come into the BlueKai, data cloud universe and the Datalogics, data assets that we have. That covers approximately 1 million companies is what we have today. When you look at an account-specific view of the firmographic data that we have, and it has about 400 million cookies and devices that you can target within the BlueKai and the Datalogics data assets.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate those clarifications. Now, moving on from firmographic, what we've certainly seen is many customers want to refine the accounts before they start, leveraging BlueKai and your data. And so, they obviously try to figure out ideal customer profiles. They look at behavior and intent signals. They score and rank their accounts, and then they prioritize and then submit accounts. Any observations, any comments around how you're seeing folks using predictive tools, like 6sense and some of the others, in terms of, just figuring out account lists as they try to tap into BlueKai data?
No, and it's a great opportunity, and I'm glad you bring that point, because until, let's say, last couple of years, the process through which customers identified accounts was based on their own inherent or organic domain knowledge of which accounts to go after. But what has happened in the last few years is there are capabilities and companies such as 6sense or Infer or LeadSpace. I mean, they have come up to a very mature level of capabilities where machine learning or various kind of automation can now be applied to the account universe that you should go after. And again, we feel within Oracle, being a very B2B specific business ourselves, very important to kind of pay notice to such kind of capabilities is because they drive a very important part for a B2B business. If I'm a B2B business and if I sell to businesses or accounts, then it is very important for me to come up with a list of accounts in the most mature or most modern way, so that it can provide you the fitment or the behavioral aspects of what you are learning and listening from the customers, internal and external data. And these have been traditionally talked about, but because of these companies that I mentioned before, whether it is 6sense or Infer or LeadSpace, they have been able to now encompass all these different data assets together. And what results out of that is not just scoring leads or people based on their propensity or how good a lead is or how not a good a lead is and so on, but the most important part for a B2B business is now you are able to stack rank and very methodically and systematically select the list of accounts. Again, it is very important because that's where your business process starts as a B2B business. And if you are looking at a funnel from a left to right, for example, and that's where your funnel starts with lead generation, we strongly recommend that our customers look at these predictive capabilities and use these modern techniques to arrive at the list of accounts, because they will be then more structured, more systematic. There will be a reasoning behind why you have selected these accounts, and that can be then fed into the platforms that we have created within the data cloud and reflect into the Kwanzoo capabilities that downstream will execute as a full marketing function.
Great, great. So yeah, let's keep moving. In the interest of time, I know we have quite a few slides to go over. We talk next, and we can keep the answers a little bit shorter, because
sure,
lots to cover here. So on contacts, let's talk about contacts. So as part of the BlueKai data set, you also have the ability to go beyond accounts into contacts, meaning at least the cookies and device IDs associated with key contacts. My understanding is you can target individuals through cookies at the job function level, job title level. I mean, how deep can we go?
Yeah, so that's what we covered in the initial slides, that the way we have classified the attributes or the categories that are associated with these 400 million users is across 4,000 plus categories, which can let you decompose these 400 million cookies and devices either by accounts, by job titles, occupation, functions. So it is a very rich set of categorization that is available for you to now double down on your account selection with a very rich contact selection.
Got it. Now, what are you finding in terms of actual program execution? I mean, what is the process? Would somebody, and again, I'm asking it more as an open-ended question, right? Because I know that we already work with you folks. We have a process. I'm just wondering, across all of the partners you work with, can you talk about the process? How does somebody submit information to you, whether it's accounts, contacts, or at least how does the whole cookie sourcing happen?
Yeah, so I think the process is at a very broad level, two different compartments. The first block or the first compartment is where you can self-service and work off of the taxonomy or the list of categories or attributes that we have already provided, which are made available for you to self-service and create your own list of accounts or list of attributes that are associated to those contacts. So for example, if you want to say that I want to go after a certain set of B2B profiles based on their titles or based on their occupation and these companies, you can do that yourself and create an audience for yourself for targeting, for example. Or you can come up with a custom requirement, which means that you have probably 20,000 accounts that you want to now create an audience, which includes the list of accounts firmographic information as well as the profile demographics that you want to bring in. So that is the second compartment where the only thing we need there is a list of companies and your criteria on what the audience needs to be created, and that can be created in a very short amount of time, which can be made available on the data management platform on the seat of choice, seat that you guys prefer or the customer prefers, and then and make it available for activation.
Great. So just to confirm, if there's certain smaller account lists, you have some pre-created account data, so people can kind of do self-service DIY type of account list building and cookie segment building. But what you're telling us is if the list, you can also support larger custom account lists and the associated, account, contact attributes. So building a totally custom. Okay, great. Now, I think there's more detail here, so I should probably have gone ahead to this slide, but this is essentially what you just said, right?
That is correct.
A way to look through the taxonomy, a way to look at the account audience, and then pick the right contacts. Now, let's go to specific use cases next. So
can we go back to the previous slide, Mani, because that probably gives a better visual cue in terms of what we just explained. So,
absolutely.
On the left-hand side, what you are seeing is the list of a few categories that are provided, as a part of decomposing a contact or decomposing the audience that you have based on the profile or the user's attributes, like somebody who works for companies that have more than 50 or 100 employees. Yeah. And on the right-hand side, what you're seeing is a specific capability within the audience data marketplace, where you can literally go and select the list of companies that you want to go after. And in this case, what you're doing is you're literally saying that, okay, I want to target all the 21,000 people who work for 3M, or some people who are a part of the 21,000 people who work for 3M who could be in the finance department and so on. And we believe that this capability is a very strong capability for account-based marketing to be made available at scale, because now it not only gives you a very rich way to classify and segment your contacts, but more importantly, as we mentioned earlier, make it anchored to the account universe that you deal with as a B2B business. And we strongly recommend that to be anchored around the account-based audience, because then now you can rinse and repeat and keep using that as a current and the future marketing needs that you have, whether it is targeting, optimization, and multiple other marketing function needs that you go after.
Yes. And I know from here we wanted to discuss a few specific use cases. So one is around prospecting and talk about, how do you scale up to tens of thousands of accounts? So that's one use case. We then, of course, discussed you have some very specific custom segments available, right, around past or data providers, around past account purchase behavior. Now we're talking about B2B application purchases by certain target customers. You guys have been able to pull some data providers around that area. I remember you also telling me about conference and event registrations, how you can help in that area because you have some specific, very specialized data providers there. A couple more use cases we'll get to, I guess, is around upsell, cross-sell, how things change if you go to upsell, cross-sell type of ABM. And finally, of course, some personalization options, lead capture, voice of customer surveys. So let me, did you have anything to add on these use cases before, we start diving into it a little more?
No, I think the point that, we wanted to convey to the audience was, it is the data that we are trying to bring to the table, which is at scale. And this data, these data categories have been systematically designed with a roadmap in mind, where the base of this data for B2B marketing will be around accounts. And if we consider that as a base, which means you can create an audience or create your own, set of users based on the accounts that are interesting to you. Now you build upon your account-based marketing based on the past purchases by those accounts, or by, all accounts, or the event attendance by those accounts, or by looking at various, other categories such as, what kind of titles or what kind of social influence does your contacts have, or users have, and so on. So systematically, these categories, when put together, will make your account-based marketing as a program very, very effective and successful, because that gives you a very focused audience and very specific data categories that you can then, leverage and activate within channels like Kwanzoo. So for example, you might want to show a different display ad for somebody who is working for a company that is in your account universe, but has purchased, let's say, cloud network management software as a company in the past. So these are very, very programmatic data assets that are now available for you to then make them actionable in platforms like Kwanzoo or any other display, channels that you want to, activate that particular data asset into.
Great. I think this really brings us to activation, right? So let's talk about the flow. So if you can just talk about from left to right, and I think you called it the rinse and repeat cycle, how people can kick off an ABM and B2B program flow, execution flow, and how it can continuously get refined and improved in a cyclical fashion.
Sure. And in fact, this is what is exciting within Oracle, because as I mentioned earlier, we have data products as well as software products. When put together, provide a full pass marketing function that can be data driven. And obviously, we would love to have Oracle Marketing and Oracle Sales Cloud, being used by our customers. That may or may not be necessary completely, but let's assume that a customer has marketing and sales, and which has the repository of accounts and contacts, the wins and losses that you have had in the past, the top and bottom sales performers, etc. So this is all the internal first-party data that can be fed into predictive analytics players such as the 6sense and Infers and lead spaces of the world. These predictive analytics capabilities now can be much more modern in terms of the machine, techniques that they use, or the correlations that they are able to bring in. And the end result, as we mentioned earlier, is not just leads that are scored, but also accounts that are scored very systematically using internal and external data attributes. That's what is very powerful about this workflow. And what we are excited about is we can now activate that workflow in a much more scalable manner. So for example, in this left to right workflow, if you look at the list of accounts that a customer has now generated using predictive analytic techniques, so let's say these are 25,000 accounts that you came up if you're a big company, or if you're a mid-sized company or a division of a company, you came up with 100 accounts that you want to go after. You can feed those 100 accounts into the Oracle Data Cloud, into our account-based marketing third-party audience and the data management platform, where this third-party new prospects, which you never had access to, now can reside with your first-party prospects or first-party users that are in your data management platform. Now with the first party and the third party, and if you are in a distribution channel business model, you can also go after a second party model there, or second party data. So the first party, second party, and the third party data assets residing together in the data management platform can now be activated on web, mobile, social, and Kwanzoo plays a very critical role there by making sure that you are able to leverage all these attributes to make a customized or a personalization decision based on the company, based on the title, based on what your marketing needs are, and so on. And that essentially gives you the rinse and repeat, because this data can be then again fed back into your marketing automation systems or your data management platform, where again the predictive analytics players, and this is where the rinse and repeat becomes more and more effective, because what we truly believe is that with every rinse and repeat, you are now getting cleaner and cleaner, which means you're driving good data into your marketing funnel. You're driving good leads and hence good accounts and hence good revenue to your business. So that's why this flow becomes very, very critical in terms of how you define your go-to-market strategy or design it based on these modern techniques.
Yeah, thanks, Niraj. And yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. The two things we were trying to highlight, at least in terms of where we fit into this, was as you mentioned, the personalization of the display experience that we're able to deliver. And the second is capturing all the interaction and ad activity data through these ad units back into marketing automation and CRM. So this next slide really was really around, okay, what else will customers need? I think just to separate out different areas of personalization, I think we talked, this is really just highlighting email personalization with this kind of a solution set, solution stack. You would typically use the marketing automation capabilities, in this case Eloqua, to do the email personalization. If it's web personalization, that's something we don't do at Kwanzoo, and I know that in the OMC world, that's certainly available through App Cloud partners, is web personalization technology. And then where we come in is the display personalization, which is as we serve out these display ads on behalf of the customer, for them to run an ABM program, could be an ABM program coupled with a retargeting program or a programmatic display program. Regardless of the kind of program, we are able to deliver highly personalized ads, which are rule-based, and the idea is to have personalization rules which are cascading rules top-down, right? So you could have an initial set of rules that is leveraging, in this case, Oracle Eloqua cookies, so where we are able to identify the user within marketing automation. We can dynamically personalize the experience at the marketing automation cookie level. If that doesn't work, meaning that user doesn't have a cookie, we're able to personalize at the account level, and that's a reverse IP tactic. We also have, of course, the ability to personalize using BlueKai cookie data. That's through the refer URL in the ad. And by the way, these rules, we're able to obviously, move it around. So you may have certain program executions where you really don't care to do the IP based personalization. You want to go straight from Eloqua personalization to BlueKai personalization. That's not a problem. You just basically move the rules around a little bit. So again, I guess we're moving all along about ABM, and now we're talking about personalizing the messages for ABM at scale. With that, let me go to the next slide. This is the point here, Niraj, is really, I think you already summed it up, but this is just a little more detail, correct? On how do you capture all the information from these ads, be it leads, be it insights, be it ad activity, be it all these signals that need to be used by, systems down the line from ads at scale back into the back-end system of record.
Right, and I think the key part here, Mani, is when you look at the scale part which we are talking about in this webinar, the reason account-based marketing is possible at scale is because of the data assets and the platform working together. And what we are observing from many customers is they want to use this common audience that you are now putting together in your data management platform as an anchor for all your first and third party data residing together. By definition, your first party data will be a smaller volume and third party will be a much more larger volume together. But I think you should also talk about some of the new, very innovative uses of how this data is now available. So for example, polls and surveys, I mean, which Kwanzoo can enable because of the new data, which means you can use the rules that you were showing in the previous slide to make it much more, purpose driven as to what display you show. And you might want to talk for a minute about that, because that shows the amount of innovation that you can do in your marketing function now because of the platform and the partnerships that we have within the data cloud and the capabilities that Kwanzoo brings to the table.
Yeah, I agree. So essentially what we've done is we've pre-built a number of these kind of rich media ad units with in-banner forms, polls, surveys, video lead forms that are quick and easy to build on the platform. It's a self-service DIY type of platform for use by marketers, but for use by agencies. And essentially what you can do is essentially set up these kind of rich media ad creators, and it's a stack of them, and then you can basically have them be rule-driven. And these are rule-driven rich media ads that you can, again, set up using on the rules engine. And the point here is you can think about the context of the program. So if, let's say, it's an upsell program or a cross-sell program, and you can basically have messages that are tuned to that use case, and the ad creative themselves and the interaction models you want to put in front of the customer that's specific to the use case. I think you pretty much summed it up. Because you may use, for example, certain survey capabilities in a customer upsell or a cross-sell situation, right? To ask a question about what do they have as a product, and then present another product that could be interesting to them. Make sense? Yeah. Let's now, I think we're ready to sum it up. Let's talk about analytics, because we've discussed account selection. We've discussed, account-specific messages, how to put them in front of folks. We've discussed all the data elements that need to come together. Let's start to wrap up here, talk about what sort of analytics is available around account-based marketing, around ABM, in the context of BlueKai. And then, we'll talk about what you are able to do on the data side. Then we'll talk about what Kwanzoo is able to do on the program execution side. Niraj?
Yeah, sure. So in this particular case, what we are showing is various slices that you can take to analyze your audience. And the similar kind of analytics is available after you have done your execution as well. But in this particular case, what we are trying to demonstrate here is that the data capabilities, because of the classification and because of the taxonomy that we are able to now design, which is very B2B specific, you can right from your planning stage of your marketing function, use this analysis to make sure that you for example, allocate your budget in a certain way, or allocate your account-based marketing program in a certain way, because you now have a much more real-time handle on where the users are geographically and location-wise, or where the users that you have selected, whether it is third-party or whether it is the first-party data, and which demographic or firmographic composition do they belong to. And again, this is nothing new, but the new part here is the flavor of B2B, or the lens of B2B that gets added to the particular analytics that you're seeing here, whether it is used in planning or whether it is used during execution or after execution. All of these data assets are now going to magnify a lot of things that you do around your marketing program, at the same time feeding it back to your predictive analytics players, who can now, as we mentioned earlier, make you better and better as you rinse and repeat and become cleaner after every rinse and repeat. And I think on the next slide, Mani will share with you on an example of what happens after the execution is done and what kind of analytics can you benefit from that flow.
Absolutely. So I think the way I see it, Niraj, and hopefully you would agree with this, is what BlueKai is going to help us with is ensuring that we are able to find the best and largest pool of online markers, cookies available for the target accounts and the key contacts of those accounts that our customers care about, first and foremost, right? That said, where we come in is we are the platform that a lot of our customers are using to, as we were showing earlier, build the rich media ad creative, set up and define these ABM programs, display programs, where they can build out an ABM program for what we call job title targeting. They can then combine that ABM program for proactive outreach and hitting folks at those companies with ads with a retargeting program where they come to the website and they bounce off. They can also do programmatic, other kind of programmatic programs to reach those specific individuals. Once we have served up ads, we capture a lot of the engagement data, engagement metrics in our platform. We have activity metrics on specific users who have engaged with these ads from target accounts. And we're able to feed all of these metrics and data from our platform back into marketing automation and through marketing automation into CRM. So what we typically do with customers is, of course, take all the ad activity level metrics, combine that with website metrics around engagement from target accounts, and extend it out into other kinds of metrics such as, any kind of additional engagement that we're able to drive downstream in things such as SDR activity, see if there's an impact on email activity, email nurture, and then on into, again, all the way into opportunity creation, meaning more new opportunities are coming up from those target accounts. So we don't have time in this webinar to get into the details of the cross-channel pipeline metrics, but the idea is when you look at an ABM program execution, BlueKai helps you on the kind of defining the universe of accounts and cookies and device IDs they can go after. And Kwanzoo provides a lot of the execution analytics around your paid display program execution, both ABM programs, retargeting programs, personalized display programs. Niraj?
Yes, I think this is a proof of the concept, or this is this probably proves the point that we were trying to make earlier, that the 6 steps of the account-based marketing program that a B2B business or a modern B2B marketing function should drive is to not just run the campaign, but also close the loop back with analytics and feed it back into your original systems that came up with these ideas or came up with these list of accounts that you want to go after. And that's where the post-execution analytics is critical, where now you can be further programmatic and learn from your previous campaigns that you have you've executed. And that's what makes the whole workflow very powerful, and hence data-driven, programmatic, and automated, and so on.
Great. So Niraj, let me just sum it up. I think we should now open it up for questions right after I sum it up here. So here's what we talked about in this webinar. We talked about account selection and account coverage and what BlueKai brings in terms of a tremendous amount of scale that wasn't there before. We talked about contact discovery and making sure the right contacts are being targeted at these accounts that you're going after. We discussed account relevant messages and content, how you can at least make it happen in the context of display. We discussed account specific interactions and how to capture those interactions, how to feed it back through display into marketing automation, into CRM, and then of course feed it all the way back into predictive tools so you can kind of do the rinse and repeat cycle. We talked a little bit about account focus plays, how you can have different plays depending on customers versus prospects, whether you're going after, looking at past purchase behavior, going after people who are specifically interested in event marketing, conferences, and so on. And then we finally looked at analytics. So that kind of sums up the webinar in terms of ABM programs at scale, ABM at scale, with BlueKai, Eloqua, and Kwanzoo. And I'm going to turn it over to Amin to start to sum it up and open it up for Q&A.
Thank you very much, Mani. We are now ready to kick off the Q&A section of today's webinar. But before we do that, allow me to take a minute to share with you all Kwanzoo's ABM account coverage report. As you can see on your screen, this report provides specific information to customers on the account coverage and reach that we are able to deliver across Kwanzoo and OMC BlueKai. So it includes match rates for a global IP-based IBM program, as well as the available cookie pool size in BlueKai for an ABM program with job title targeting. And for this type of approach, all we need is your list of target accounts, job functions and titles in an Excel format, for instance, and we'll be able to show you both coverage and the ads that we can serve to your target accounts. So with that, now on to the Q&A. Just to ensure we receive your questions, please enter them at any time during here on the GoToWebinar question window, or if you're on Twitter right now, tweeting them to handles at Kwanzoo, at Iyer, or at DEONIRAJ, using hashtag ABM Done Right or hashtag ABM Chat. Now to go to the first question here that we received. Mani, Niraj, here's the first one. The first question is, we are looking for ways to target companies outside of North America in EMEA and APAC. How would that work?
Yeah, so let me go first, and Niraj, I'll turn it over to you, to add your commentary. So essentially, this is a great question because, we do see that large companies that have a global, customer base need to figure this out. And what we find is that they really need to look at a cookie-based approach or strategy, and that works very well in North America. But if they do want to target accounts that are overseas, be it in the Asia-Pacific region or in the EMEA region and so forth, that they do need to look at complementing a cookie strategy with an IP-based strategy. And to support that, certainly on the Kwanzoo platform, we offer the ability to, upload account lists and set up an IP-based or IP-targeted global ABM program. The way that works is you upload your account list. We map the accounts into IP address ranges, and then we start serving ads to people from those accounts as they visit the web. And we find that this is a reasonably effective strategy, certainly because it turns out to be one of the best options available when you go beyond North America. For a variety of reasons, there are restrictions on cookies, as we all know, due to different kind of privacy policies in certain countries and geographies. And there just aren't the kind of cookie pools that are available overseas that we see in North America. And so IP-based ABM, we find, is pretty much the best way to go if you're targeting some of those markets. Niraj, I'd love to hear your comments and commentary on this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think if you look at the Oracle scope, we obviously want to make sure that all our products are supported globally, and the data cloud or the B2B products will follow the same pattern. We are obviously starting with the US, which is where we have a capability to announce ABM at scale or account-based marketing at scale. But what's happening underneath the data assets that we have, or companies such as AddThis, which we recently added to our portfolio of data assets that we have, or data capabilities that we have, or Crosswise, which gives us the capability to now, connect users across various channels, is naturally going to bring a lot of US as well as non-US scale to the table. And what we are starting with today is the US scope, where we can deliver ABM at scale, followed by the developed countries and and so on. And that's the part of our roadmap. As of today, we have about 10 to 15% of our already 400 million plus volume of cookies and devices already tagged as non-US, and we are going to continue to add more data provider partnerships or our own data science efforts to kind of make sure that our existing US and non-US data assets are available for our global customers as well.
Yeah, so Niraj, do you have a sense of timeline or priority, like beyond the US, which particular countries or geographies would you all be targeting to expand your?
Yeah, so I think we don't, we cannot release the timelines, confidently as of today, but the plan is in the next 6 to 12 months, we should be able to have a fully functional global B2B account-based capability at scale available for, major non-US markets.
Okay, and again, so that would be more of the cookie pools and cookie-based approach, or are you also planning to make available any kind of IP address targeting through BlueKai?
So IP is one of the tools that we have in, to enhance the way we resolve identities, in our data platforms. Okay. And whether it is IP or a cookie or various other, mobile device IDs and so on, that all basically form a part of our ID graph capability that we have within the data cloud. So IP is obviously being considered and already a part of our data asset, but whether to amplify that, whether to consider that as a probabilistic or a deterministic linkage is what we are currently evaluating. we are going with mostly deterministic linkages that we can go after for B2B users as of today, but we will further model or amplify the users that we have using IP or some other techniques that we can go forward with.
Okay, all right, thank you. Amin?
Sure. Guys, the next question is regarding pricing. It says, do we need to purchase BlueKai separately, or is it included within the Kwanzoo platform?
Okay, so I think Niraj, since that's a question directed to us, let me take this one. So the answer is to access all the data assets that BlueKai now has available. Kwanzoo does have the ability for you all to tap into the BlueKai data without necessarily purchasing a BlueKai license. I mean, of course, the way it would work is the BlueKai data would need to be, will be made available to the customer, but it would be through one of our DSP partners, and it is part of the program costs, and it would be on a CPM basis. And Niraj, to get a sense of the cost on a CPM basis, is it fair to say a lot of the data we're talking about today, whether it's account data, job function, job title, job level, etc., is around $2 to $2.50 CPMs?
It varies, Mani. I think that's the price point for our account-based audiences today.
Yep.
But there's a roadmap of various new categories that we're launching, where the price points will be announced, and they're already baked in as a part of the BlueKai platform. So if a customer is aware of how to leverage the BlueKai audiences, the price points and everything is pretty transparent out there, which is available on the platform, or they can contact us and we can follow through with the lead there.
So yes, but then again, just to sum up on this particular question, the answer is yes, you can access the BlueKai data, and no, you do not have to have a BlueKai license, at least as you start kicking off some ABM programs and perhaps smaller pilots, and then you might want to look at a BlueKai license. When you do get to a certain scale at your organization, you might decide that's the way to go. So if you want to run some quick pilots, ABM pilots, and you have your account list ready, job functions, job titles ready, we can certainly help you there in launching those programs and help you access BlueKai data, as we said, through a DSP seat. Amin?
Thanks, Mani. The next question is regarding paid display ads. We are running all of our paid display ads through DSPs today. How is running an ABM campaign different from a regular retargeting or display?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the key point here is if you're just running a traditional, a simple retargeting program, you can of course, get a retargeting pixel from a DSP and retarget, drop it on your website and build a cookie pool. You can obviously upload simple banners directly into a DSP and then start serving, just simple banners. Where Kwanzoo comes in is the ability to go beyond those kind of programs into, when we say ABM program, like an ABM IP program, keep in mind we're starting with an account list, and then we are, then resolving account lists into, say, IP address ranges. We've got some technology we've built out to then take those IP address ranges, kind of track it against accounts, being able to set it up with the DSP, then be able to bring all the results back, the analytics, the metrics, and then report back all engagement at the account level, report back on impressions at the account level, help design programs at the account level, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then we, of course, discuss all the personalization of these ads at the contact level and account level. So that, quite honestly, is all the areas where we bring value above and beyond what you get with the traditional, DSP display execution. Amin?
Thank you, Mani. The final question for you guys is, what are the biggest ABM challenges that Oracle is seeing among customers that will continue to be a key focus here in the coming months?
Yeah, so I think it looks like this was an Oracle question, right, Mani?
Absolutely. This is yours, Niraj.
Okay. Yeah. So I think what we are seeing within Oracle as a part of the B2B specific challenges, not just account-based marketing challenges. Instead of challenges, I would kind of frame it as an opportunity that we are seeing that most of our customers are leveraging, because the fact that now you can start going after accounts in a much more scale, data-driven way, and all the points that we talked about in this webinar, most of the customers are leveraging this opportunity to address all their B2B marketing functions or challenges in such a way that the go-to-market is itself designed around the fact that now you can be data-driven on your account-based marketing functions. And what that means is you're looking at the data management platform and your audience to serve as an anchor for all your first and second and third party data, so that you can use that anchor or you can use that base to then launch various marketing or go-to-market functions that you have, whether it is targeting, whether it is optimization or retargeting and so on. So that's the opportunity that we are seeing, and the challenges that most of our customers are now facing is to how to adopt to these modern way of account-based design, or how to construct your marketing function, your marketing budgets, your marketing strategy, which could be account-based, and it was obviously a known fact earlier, which means the marketing and the sales functions always wanted to be account-based, which means sales wanted to obviously go after accounts, marketing wanted to go after accounts but didn't have the tools to do that. But now, because there are data tools, there are software tools, there are media tools available to now predictably go after an account-based marketing as a full-fledged program, customers are now redesigning their go-to-market strategy to kind of go after leveraging the full potential of the account-based marketing, while making sure that it is not just fully account-based. There are also non-account-based programs that you might want to run. So for example, a brand awareness campaign may not be necessarily account-based. It could be a non-account-based campaign that you can run as you were running it before account-based became so popular today, and so on. So that's how we would summarize it in the form of a challenge as well as an opportunity to redesign or take a look at your go-to-market construct itself.
Absolutely, Niraj. And one thing I wanted to add to what you just said was, we were at the Modern Marketing Experience Conference, last couple of weeks ago, and one of the things that was pretty exciting to hear was that Oracle Eloqua is making a big push into ABM, and that, in fact, is a key focus for them in their upcoming release. So within the next 6 to 12 months, from what we could tell, account-based marketing, ABM, is going to be a core part of the Oracle Eloqua capabilities as part of the base platform. And so a lot of things like managing account lists will be possible directly in the platform, cross-channel account-based nurture, cross-channel account-level scoring. So obviously that's pretty exciting stuff coming from Oracle, that ABM is going to get even more integral across the stack. So with that, let me go to the final slide, and then Amin, back to you.
Thank you, Mani. It's now time for us to wrap up today's discussion. So if any of you have any follow-up questions or would like some more information, please be sure to reach Kwanzoo via email at info@kwanzoo.com or over the phone at 408-216-7025. Allow me to thank all of you all for joining us today. Mani, Niraj, thanks for your insights, and everyone, please have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.